The best of Money Matters. Right Business.
Welcome to The Right Business, where we dive deep into the stories of trailblazers who dare to disrupt the status quo, find the gap in the market to find the right business. Hello, I'm Hongbin Jeong. In today's world, burnout, stress, and mental health struggles often go unnoticed until they've taken a significant toll. But more organizations are looking to change the status quo. Why does this matter? Well, those investing in proactive mental health infrastructure are seeking measurable gains, better retention, stronger engagement, and healthier bottom lines. This isn't just a well-being trend. It's fast becoming a market imperative. The total addressable market for mental wellness in Asia Pacific was valued at over $34.5 billion in 2024 and is projected to more than double by 2031. And SafeSpace is planned to address this gap by introducing cutting-edge AI technology and providing tailored mental health education, therapy, and community support. So what does the future of mental health care look like in workplace? And how can businesses proactively support their teams before burnout hits? We're joining us today to share more is Antoinette Patterson, who is the co-founder and CEO of SafeSpace. Hi, Antoinette. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All right, Antoinette, SafeSpace was created to address a very real gap in mental health care, particularly for workplace. What was the defining moment or experience, though, that inspired you to start SafeSpace?
So the idea for SafeSpace actually came from a very deeply personal experience. I was the employee that had a panic attack in the office about 8 years ago, and my company then did not have any mental health benefit for me to utilize.
Oh dear.
And I realized firsthand, just how hard it was to find timely and culturally relevant, affordable support, and the waiting lists were actually quite long. And that was really my light bulb moment. There was a gap that I wanted to find a better way to solve because I did have a team that I was looking after. So if I could experience this, I knew they could at some point. So SafeSpace was really born to close that gap and to really make mental health support something that people can actually reach for before they reach that breaking point.
Right. Well, in a world where many companies rely on traditional wellness programs here, what do you believe makes SafeSpace approach to mental health truly different?
That's a great question. The traditional EAP programs right now often really focus on very surface-level perks. I'm sure most companies or people listening in, they would have experienced things like yoga sessions or self-care education apps for them to try. And they are helpful to some extent. But for us at SafeSpace, we go deeper. What we want to do is we want to integrate clinical counseling, various psychoeducational workshops, and actually community support for anonymous insights and that are actionable. But we also want to ensure that employees get personalized care and HR teams get real-time but anonymous insights for them to support their employees and to really build that culture of psychological safety.
Well, silent burnout is something many people experience without even realizing it here. So why is it often harder to identify burnout in today's workforce, do you think? Do you think hybrid work culture affects mental health as well?
I do think so. And burnout today is often quite silent. So when you look around your office or if let's say you're working remotely, people do tend to look like they're coping quite well. They're hitting deadlines, they're showing up to meetings, but potentially inside, they might be emotionally drained because, there's just so many things to do in a day and there's not enough resource to get the work done. And hybrid work does make it a bit trickier because now the lines between work and rest are now blurred. And without face-to-face time, some of those warning signs are very easy to miss. So for us, we do tell our employers or potential employees that we're going to work with, don't just measure performance, measure well-being, and check in often with your team. Create that space for honest conversations and try your best to normalize mental health support because the last thing you want is for someone to break down because by then it's already too late.
Well, AI and technology can play a vital role in early mental health intervention here as well. So how can AI do that? And how does it help businesses intervene before issues escalate?
Imagine having a system that does flag burnout risks or emotional distress trends before someone reaches that crisis breaking point. So for us at SafeSpace, when we look at AI, we're really hoping that tools like this, can analyze anonymous usage data and track engagement patterns and even sentiments. So for us, consent is very important and privacy is also very important. The goal of this data is to provide insights so that we can help HR teams spot these early warning signs, and it really allows for timely invasive interventions and hopefully, give a nudge to the folks that are experiencing some of these risks to go and get help because ultimately prevention is far cheaper and kinder than cure.
So at Safe Space, your approach also includes therapy, education, and community support. How do these services work together to create a holistic mental health solution?
Think of it like a three-legged stool. If one's missing, the balance is off. So for us, counseling is one of those legs, and it provides, deep healing and understanding. But education provides the knowledge that builds up mental resilience. And ultimately, humans are social beings. Community really creates that sense of belonging. So for us, we want to run everything from one-to-one counseling sessions to the mental health workshops for corporates, and even providing that peer support or group counseling circles to get that community aspect and sense of belonging. And when we do those three things, it helps people to be equipped with the tools, the support, and the feeling that they're not alone in this journey. Because healing doesn't just happen in one day or 1 month. It does need to happen every day with the right ecosystem around you.
You're definitely right. But there's often a stigma around seeking mental health support, which is why people don't really seek help here. But one of Safe Space's key missions, I believe, is to make mental health resources accessible. So how does Safe Space create a supportive environment where individuals feel empowered to seek help, Antoinette?
Sure. We've been doing this for 8 years, and when I first started, what we did was a lot of education. And the first thing that we had to do was to normalize the conversation. So if you see our social media and other media channels, the language that we use is accessible, is non-clinical, and we aim for it to be stigma-free. So there's no clinical jargon being used in the way we educate. Second, we offer private but confidential access to counseling or coaching sessions, both in person and virtually, so that people can get help in a way that feels safe for them. But the last point would be we want to train the managers and the HR teams on how to respond with empathy and also with no judgment as much as possible. Mental health shouldn't feel like just another part of physical health, like going to the dentist or a gym, and there should not be any shame, just care.
Right. Are there any success stories that you'd like to share with us where Safe Spaces services have made a significant difference in someone's life?
Sure. We list all our testimonials on our website. I'm very happy to share one of them. So this is a direct quote from one of our clients, and it goes like this. Safe Space has been a very useful platform in helping me find a therapist in a short amount of time, and it takes away the financial worry of, is this $200 per hour therapy session actually worth it when going to in-person therapy? Furthermore, it allows me to access therapy sessions from the comfort of my home without needing to travel for 2 hours on public transport when I'm going for just a 1 hour session. So we really try our best to make it affordable and accessible for the community.
Wow. Well, mental wellness or the mental wellness market here in Asia Pacific is projected to more than double by 2031. What do you see as the key drivers behind this growth, Antoinette?
Sure. For us, there are three key components to this. The first is awareness, then is access, and accountability. People are becoming a lot more aware of their mental health, especially after COVID. And there's now better access to digital EAP platform services like ours, and EAP stands for Employee Assistance Programs. And companies are actually now being held accountable by also their employees, and the employees are expecting more than just free snacks and beanbags in the office. They want a cultural change, and they want psychological safety. And in Asia, we're finally seeing them break the silence on this. Younger generations especially are also pushing for such change, and we're excited to see this shift in mental health requests within the workplace.
Right. Well, speaking of the shift here, with more businesses starting to recognize the importance of mental health support for their employees, what challenges, though, do you foresee in the industry?
There's two areas. So for us, we're right in the heart of this. The first is quality control, and the second is scalability. So as demand grows, there's definitely a risk of diluted service quality, or something that we call wellness washing, where companies offer token mental health support, but there's no real impact because it's not being tracked. Also, having culturally relevant solutions are still lacking in many parts of APAC. For example, what works in San Francisco will definitely not work in Vietnam because of the cultural differences. So finding local partnerships and respecting the cultural nuance is very key for us. Tech can scale, but ultimately trust and cultural empathy must still be within this space.
Right. And before we let you go here, Antoinette, what's next for Safe Space? How do you see your role reshaping mental health care in Asia and beyond in the next, 5 years?
Yeah, we're at a very exciting point in Safe Space's journey, so we're very close to hitting profitability, and we've got a very clear, focused path ahead. We're not just growing for growth's sake, we're really building a sustainable impact on our side. Secondly, we're launching a Mind Boost AI, which is a tool that we're planning to use for AI, and I'll share with you more about this in the later stages. But for my role right now, I do see myself as a builder and a disruptor, and I want to reshape mental health care in Asia by making it more accessible.
Amazing. A builder and a disruptor. Well, thank you so much, Antoinette, for joining me today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That was Antoinette Patterson, who's the co-founder and CEO of Safe Space. This has been The Right Business with me, Hongbin Jeong.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.